In a grand chamber filled with glowing holograms and floating orbs of light, the Galactic Council convened. The room hummed with quiet energy as representatives from dozens of alien species gathered to discuss pressing matters across the galaxy. Today's topic was Earth, a small blue planet orbiting an unremarkable star in the Milky Way. For decades, reports had trickled in about its inhabitants, a curious species known as humans. They were young compared to most civilizations, barely scratching the surface of interstellar travel. Yet their rapid growth worried some council members. Jirak, a tall, slender being with shimmering silver skin and eyes like liquid mercury, stood at the center of the circular platform. His voice resonated through the chamber, calm but firm. "We cannot ignore them any longer," he said, addressing the assembly. "Their technological advancements are accelerating at an unprecedented rate. In less than 2 centuries, they have gone from primitive combustion engines to constructing orbital habitats. If we do not act now, they may become uncontrollable." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Many dismissed Jirak's warnings with dismissive gestures or soft chuckles. One counselor, a hulking reptilian creature named Vorith, leaned forward on his clawed hands. "Uncontrollable," he growled, his deep voice reverberating like thunder. "They are children playing with tools they barely understand. What threat could they possibly pose?" Others nodded in agreement. To them, humanity seemed insignificant, a fragile species clinging to life on a single planet. Their wars, pollution, and internal divisions made them appear chaotic and disorganized. Why waste time worrying about such a minor civilization when there were greater threats in the galaxy? But Jirak persisted. He activated a holographic display showing images of human achievements, sleek spacecraft launching into orbit, sprawling cities illuminated at night, and intricate networks of satellites encircling their world. "Look closer," he urged. "These humans adapt faster than any species we've encountered. They innovate under pressure, turning obstacles into opportunities. And now, they are venturing beyond their solar system. Do you truly believe they will remain content staying within their borders?" His words fell on skeptical ears. Most counselors refused to see the danger, convinced that humanity's flaws outweighed their potential. As the meeting dragged on, another counselor, a wispy, ethereal being called Lizura, floated gracefully into the discussion. Her voice was melodic yet condescending. "Even if they grow stronger, what can they do against us? We possess millennia of knowledge and technology far beyond theirs. Let them squabble among themselves while we focus on more pressing issues." As the debate raged, something unusual happened. A faint signal pierced the silence of space, detected by sensors throughout the chamber. It came from Earth's direction, a deliberate transmission aimed directly at the stars. The message was simple: "We exist. We seek peace." For a moment, the room fell silent. Some counselors exchanged uneasy glances. Could these humans really be reaching out? Or was this some kind of trick? Either way, it was clear that humanity was no longer content hiding in the shadows. Jirak sighed heavily, his fears confirmed. "They are not just humans anymore," he muttered under his breath. But his warning went unheard once again, drowned out by arrogance and complacency. Little did the council know, their underestimation would soon come back to haunt them. The signal from Earth traveled faster than light, carried by quantum-entangled particles that humanity had only recently mastered. It wasn't random noise or accidental interference. It was deliberate, precise, and unmistakably intelligent. For weeks, scientists on Earth monitored their equipment anxiously, waiting for any response. Back in the Galactic Council chambers, however, the transmission sparked heated debates. "This changes nothing," growled Vorith, his reptilian scales shimmering with irritation as he paced the council floor. "It is just a primitive attempt to communicate. They are broadcasting blindly, hoping someone will hear them." Jirak didn't share his dismissive tone. Standing tall amidst the glowing holograms, he replayed the message for everyone to hear again. A soft, melodic voice speaking in multiple languages, some human, others alien tongues pieced together from intercepted signals over decades. The words were simple but profound. We exist. We seek peace. They've been listening, Girac said, his silver eyes scanning the room. They've studied our communications, deciphered our languages, and now they're reaching out. This isn't ignorance, it's strategy. Lizira floated gracefully above her seat, her translucent form rippling like water. Her musical voice carried both curiosity and disdain. Strategy implies intelligence beyond mere mimicry. Are you suggesting these humans are capable of such sophistication? Before Girac could respond, another counselor chimed in. A bulky insectoid creature named Crixik. His mandibles clicked rapidly as he spoke. If they are so clever, why broadcast openly? Why not observe silently, as we do when encountering new species? That question hung heavy in the air. On Earth, the decision to send the message hadn't been unanimous. In fact, it had divided humanity itself. Dr. Elena Vasquez, one of the lead scientists behind the project, argued passionately for transparency. If we hide, we risk being seen as weak or untrustworthy, she told the United Earth Assembly. By stepping forward, we show courage and invite dialogue. General Marcus Hale, her military counterpart, wasn't convinced. A grizzled veteran with sharp features and piercing blue eyes, he leaned back in his chair during the meeting, arms crossed. Courage is one thing, Doctor. Recklessness is another. What if this dialogue comes in the form of warships? Despite the disagreement, the message was sent. Humanity held its breath, unsure what would happen next. Days turned into weeks, and no response came. Some began to think the effort was wasted. But then, strange readings appeared near Earth's moon, a faint energy signature moving toward it. On Earth, panic spread quickly. News outlets buzzed with speculation about alien visitors, while conspiracy theories ran rampant online. Governments scrambled to prepare defenses, even though many doubted anything significant would occur. After all, how likely was it that aliens would respond so soon? But respond they did. A sleek, metallic probe descended onto the lunar surface, emitting a low-frequency hum detectable across the globe. At first, it seemed peaceful, a glowing orb atop tripod legs, rotating slowly as if scanning its surroundings. Then, without warning, it unleashed a pulse of energy that disabled every satellite orbiting Earth. Communication grids collapsed, GPS systems went dark, and stock markets plunged into chaos. Back at the Galactic Council, news of the incident reached the chamber within hours. Most counselors dismissed it as coincidence, assuming rogue scavengers or pirates were responsible. Girac, however, felt a chill run down his spine. He knew better. Humans might be young and inexperienced, but they were resourceful and angry. If provoked further, they wouldn't hesitate to retaliate. They may have started with a plea for peace, Girac murmured, staring at the hologram of the damaged satellites. But I fear their patience has limits. No one listened. To the council, humanity remained an afterthought, a minor inconvenience easily brushed aside. Yet deep down, even the most arrogant among them couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental was beginning. Somewhere out there, hidden beneath Earth's fragile atmosphere, a sleeping giant had stirred, and it wouldn't stay quiet for long. The probe's attack left Earth reeling. Satellites that once connected continents now floated dead in orbit, their circuits fried by the mysterious energy pulse. Panic spread like wildfire as governments struggled to restore communication networks and reassure frightened populations. Conspiracy theories multiplied. Some claimed it was an alien invasion. Others accused rogue nations of sabotage. Amidst the chaos, one thing became clear. Humanity was not alone in the universe, and its first contact had gone horribly wrong. Dr. Elena Vasquez stared at the live feed from the moon, her hands trembling slightly as she clutched a cup of cold coffee. The probe stood motionless on the lunar surface, its metallic body gleaming under the harsh sunlight. It hadn't moved since releasing the pulse, but its presence loomed large over Earth. "We didn't provoke this," she whispered to General Marcus Hale, who stood beside her in the dimly lit command center. "They came uninvited." Hale's jaw tightened as he watched the footage. "Maybe they saw our signal as a declaration of war," he muttered grimly. "Or maybe they just don't like competition." Elena shook her head. "That doesn't make sense. If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done far worse. This feels calculated, like a warning." Her words hung heavy in the air. Around them, technicians worked frantically to analyze data streaming in from telescopes and ground-based sensors. Scientists debated whether the probe was autonomous or remotely controlled, while military strategists argued over how to respond. Should they send a diplomatic team to the moon, or prepare for retaliation? Before anyone could decide, the probe activated again. This time, it projected a holographic image into space, a swirling pattern of colors and shapes, accompanied by strange, harmonic tones. To many, it seemed like an attempt at communication. But when experts tried to decode the message, frustration mounted. The patterns shifted too quickly. The tones overlapped chaotically. It was as if the probe wasn't designed to communicate with humans at all. Back at the Galactic Council, news of the incident sparked outrage. Girac watched silently as counselors pointed fingers, accusing each other of negligence. "This proves my point," he exclaimed, stepping forward. "Humans are unpredictable. Their curiosity led them to reverse engineer alien technology, and now scavengers see them as easy prey." Vorith snarled dismissively. "Scavengers are beneath us. Let the humans deal with their own mess." But Lizira floated closer, her ethereal form shimmering with unease. What if these scavengers aren't acting alone? What if someone sent them to test humanity's resolve? Her question silenced the chamber. For the first time, doubt crept into their minds. Could this be part of a larger plan? And if so, who was behind it? Meanwhile, on Earth, tensions reached a boiling point. Governments accused each other of withholding information, while citizens demanded answers. Protests erupted in cities worldwide, some calling for unity against the unknown threat, others urging caution. In secret meetings, world leaders agreed to pool resources and form a joint task force, the Human Stellar Initiative, HSI, to address the crisis. General Hale took charge of HSI's military wing, overseeing the deployment of experimental weapons and defensive systems. Dr. Vasquez led the scientific division, working tirelessly to understand the probe's technology. Together, they devised a bold plan: send a manned mission to the moon to investigate the probe up close. As the spacecraft prepared for launch, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking into a trap. "If this goes wrong," she said quietly to Hale, "it could mean war." He met her gaze steadily. "War is already here, Doctor. We're just deciding where to fight it." When the astronauts finally approached the probe, they found it eerily silent. Just as they extended a robotic arm to touch it, the device emitted another pulse, this time directed straight at them. The screen in the command center went black. For a moment, the entire planet held its breath. Then, static cleared, revealing the crew alive but shaken. The probe had self-destructed, leaving behind fragments of alien circuitry, and a chilling realization: humanity wasn't ready for what lay beyond the stars. But the stars weren't waiting for them to catch up. The destruction of the alien probe on the moon sent shockwaves through humanity. For the first time, Earth's fractured nations faced a common enemy, an unknown force from beyond the stars. The probe's attack had been devastating, but its remnants offered a glimmer of hope. Scientists quickly recovered pieces of its advanced technology, sparking a global race to understand and replicate it. What began as fear and chaos soon transformed into determination. Humanity, long divided by borders and ideologies, found itself united under one banner: survival. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood in a high-security lab deep beneath the Nevada desert, surrounded by fragments of the alien device. Her team worked around the clock, analyzing every shard with cutting-edge tools. "This material isn't like anything we've seen before," she said, holding up a shard that shimmered faintly despite being inert. "It reacts to quantum fluctuations. It's practically alive." General Marcus Hale paced behind her, his boots echoing against the cold steel floor. "Alive or not, we need answers fast," he replied gruffly. "If there are more probes out there, or worse, we can't afford to be caught off guard again." Alina nodded, her mind racing. The probe's design hinted at scavenger origins, but its sophistication suggested connections to larger powers. Whoever these scavengers were, they clearly underestimated humanity. That mistake would cost them dearly. Above ground, governments convened in an unprecedented summit. Leaders who once bickered over resources and territory now sat side by side, discussing how best to defend their planet. The United Nations headquarters buzzed with activity as diplomats hammered out agreements for shared intelligence and pooled military assets. From this collaboration emerged the Human Stellar Initiative, HSI, a coalition tasked with safeguarding humanity's future among the stars. Under HSI's leadership, Earth underwent rapid transformation. Factories churned out new spacecraft armed with reverse-engineered alien tech. Orbital platforms bristling with weapons encircled the planet, creating a defensive shield against further attacks. AI systems integrated into military operations provided unparalleled coordination, while breakthroughs in quantum fusion enabled faster-than-light travel prototypes. As humanity prepared for war, whispers spread across the galaxy. News of Earth's defiance reached the Galactic Council, where counselors reacted with a mix of amusement and alarm. Girac watched silently as debates erupted over whether to intervene directly. "They're arming themselves," Voreth sneered, leaning forward on his clawed hands. "What do you expect? Primitive apes playing soldier?" Girac shook his head. "You underestimate them. Their adaptability is unmatched. Look what they've done already, reverse engineering alien tech in mere weeks. Imagine what they'll achieve when fully mobilized." Lazira floated gracefully beside him, her translucent form rippling with curiosity. Perhaps this is exactly what they needed, a catalyst to push them forward. "But tell me, Girac, do you truly believe they can stand against us if it comes to that?" Before he could answer, another counselor interrupted, a wiry insectoid creature named Crixik. His mandibles clicked rapidly as he spoke. "Why waste time speculating? Let them squabble among themselves. They'll collapse under their own weight soon enough." But Girac wasn't convinced. He knew better than to dismiss humanity's potential. Beneath their fragile exteriors lay resilience, creativity, and an unyielding drive to survive. These qualities made them dangerous, not because they sought conquest, but because they refused to bow down. Back on Earth, General Hale addressed a gathering of HSI leaders, his voice steady yet commanding. "We don't know who sent that probe or why, but we do know one thing. They made a grave error attacking us. We will show them, and anyone else watching, that humanity won't back down." His words resonated deeply. Across the globe, people rallied behind HSI's cause. Protesters marched with banners reading "Earth United" and "No Fear in the Stars." Artists painted murals of astronauts standing defiantly against alien ships. Musicians composed anthems celebrating unity and courage. Yet amidst the optimism, doubts lingered. Dr. Vasquez often found herself staring at the night sky, wondering what lay beyond. Were they preparing for battle against scavengers, or something far greater? Whatever the truth, one thing was certain. Humanity had taken its first step onto the galactic stage, and it wouldn't leave quietly. In hidden asteroid bases scattered throughout the Orc cloud, construction crews worked tirelessly on humanity's secret weapon, a massive fleet of starships. Cloaked in stealth technology and equipped with experimental weapons, these vessels would ensure Earth's voice was heard loud and clear. In the cold, silent expanse of the Orc cloud, humanity's greatest secret lay hidden. Thousands of kilometers from Earth's orbit, among icy comets and drifting rocks, asteroid bases buzzed with activity. These were no ordinary structures. They were massive hubs of innovation and production, shielded from prying eyes by layers of advanced stealth technology. Within these bases, humanity's future was being forged. General Marcus Hale stood on the observation deck of one such base, gazing out at the fleet taking shape before him. Sleek starships stretched across the void like metallic giants, their hulls glinting faintly in the dim light of distant stars. Each vessel was a marvel of engineering, combining reverse-engineered alien tech with human ingenuity. Faster-than-light drives hummed softly as they powered up for tests, while automated drones swarmed around the ships, fine-tuning every detail. "This is it," Hale muttered to himself, his breath fogging the glass window slightly. "Our chance to show them we're not just some primitive species clinging to a rock." Behind him, Dr. Elena Vasquez approached cautiously, her tablet glowing with schematics and data streams. She had overseen much of the technological development, ensuring that each ship was equipped with cutting-edge weapons and defenses. But even she couldn't shake the unease gnawing at her gut. "Do you think we're ready?" she asked quietly. Hale turned to face her, his expression grim but resolute. "Doesn't matter if we're ready or not. They came into our space, attacked us without warning, and left us scrambling. If we don't prepare now, what happens when they come back, with more than just probes?" Elena nodded slowly, though doubt lingered in her eyes. The scale of what they built was staggering, but so was the risk. Humanity had poured all its resources into this project, leaving little room for error. One misstep could mean disaster, not just for Earth, but for any hope of peaceful coexistence in the galaxy. Meanwhile, whispers of humanity's progress reached the Galactic Council, carried by spies and intercepted transmissions. Girac watched intently as fragmented reports painted a picture of an ambitious species preparing for war. Ships cloaked in stealth fields, experimental weaponry derived from scavenged alien artifacts. It sounded almost unbelievable, until he saw footage of test flights conducted near Pluto's orbit. The humans weren't bluffing. "They've been building this for years," Girac said during a council meeting, his voice tinged with both awe and concern. "And we ignored them every step of the way." Voreth snorted dismissively, his reptilian tail lashing behind him. "Building doesn't mean winning. Their so-called fleet is nothing compared to ours. Let them waste their time hiding in the shadows." But Lizura floated closer, her ethereal form shimmering with curiosity. "What if those shadows are exactly where they want to stay?" She mused aloud. "Stealth gives them unpredictability, and unpredictability makes them dangerous." Her words struck a chord. For decades, the Council had operated under the assumption that superior numbers and firepower guaranteed victory. But humanity wasn't playing by those rules. They adapted, improvised, and thrived under pressure, a trait many older civilizations had long forgotten. Back on Earth, tensions mounted as rumors spread about emissaries arriving from the Galactic Council. Officially, the visit was framed as a diplomatic mission, to negotiate peace and prevent further conflict. Unofficially, everyone knew better. The Council wanted answers. They wanted reassurance that humanity posed no threat. When the alien delegation landed in Geneva, Switzerland, humanity greeted them with calculated defiance. Representatives from HSI escorted the visitors through heavily guarded checkpoints to a secure conference hall. Inside, General Hale and Dr. Vasquez awaited them alongside world leaders. As the doors opened, revealing rows of towering aliens clad in ornate robes and armor, Hale felt a surge of pride and resolve. Despite their differences, humanity stood united. When Voreth stepped forward, his imposing frame casting a shadow over the room, he sneered down at the assembled humans. "You are children playing at war," he growled, his voice echoing ominously. "Cease your foolishness before you destroy yourselves." It was Elena who responded, stepping forward calmly despite the weight of dozens of alien gazes upon her. "We didn't start this," she said firmly, "but we'll finish it. Whether that means peace or something else is entirely up to you." The air crackled with tension. Outside, Cameras captured images of the alien ships hovering over Earth's atmosphere, their presence a stark reminder of how precarious the situation truly was. Yet beneath the surface, humanity's hidden fleet loomed larger still, a silent promise that Earth would never bow to fear. The conference hall in Geneva buzzed with tension as humanity and the Galactic Council faced each other across a long, polished table. On one side sat representatives of Earth, Dr. Elena Vasquez, General Marcus Hale, and leaders from nations around the globe. Their faces were calm but resolute, masks hiding the storm of emotions brewing beneath. Across from them towered the alien emissaries, their forms ranging from sleek and metallic to hulking and reptilian. At the center stood Voreth, his massive frame exuding arrogance, flanked by Lizura's shimmering, ethereal presence. Voreth leaned forward, his sharp teeth glinting under the fluorescent lights. "You call yourselves civilized," he growled, his voice dripping with disdain. "Your reckless experiments disrupt galactic stability. You are children playing with fire." General Hale clenched his fists under the table, but kept his tone steady. "We didn't ask for this confrontation," he replied, his deep voice cutting through the room like steel. "But we won't back down either. We've earned our place among the stars, and we'll defend it." Dr. Vasquez stepped forward, her tablet glowing softly in her hands. She projected holographic images onto the table, evidence of illegal mining operations conducted near human colonies by certain Council-aligned species. "This isn't about pride or conquest," she said, her voice firm yet measured. "It's about fairness. You exploit weaker species without consequence while dismissing us as insignificant. That ends now." Lizura floated closer, her translucent form rippling with intrigue. "Fairness is subjective," she murmured, tilting her head slightly. "What you see as exploitation, others view as progress. How do you propose we resolve such differences?" Elena met her gaze unflinchingly. "By treating all species equally, including us. Humanity seeks recognition, not dominance. But if you continue to ignore our rights, we will take what belongs to us by force." The room fell silent, the weight of her words hanging heavy in the air. Some counselors exchanged uneasy glances, while others bristled at the audacity of these primitive apes. Voreth slammed a clawed hand on the table, causing the surface to shudder. "You dare threaten the Council? You have no idea who you're dealing with." Before tensions could escalate further, Girac stepped forward. His silver skin gleamed faintly under the lights, his liquid metal eyes scanning both sides. "Enough," he said firmly, raising a hand to silence Voreth. "This hostility serves no purpose. If we wish to avoid war, we must find common ground." His intervention cooled tempers, if only slightly. The discussion turned to practical matters: trade agreements, territorial boundaries, and oversight mechanisms. Yet every proposal was met with resistance. Humanity demanded autonomy and reparations for damages caused by rogue scavengers. The Council insisted on strict regulations, fearing humanity's rapid growth would destabilize the galaxy. Hours passed, and frustration mounted. Finally, Voreth rose to his full height, his tail lashing behind him. "This is pointless," he declared, turning to leave. "You cannot negotiate with savages." Hale shot to his feet, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. "And you wonder why we don't trust you," he snapped. "If this is how the Council treats potential allies, then maybe the galaxy needs new leadership." The room erupted into chaos. Voices shouted over one another, accusations flying like daggers, just as it seemed diplomacy. The collapse of the Geneva summit sent shockwaves through both humanity and the Galactic Council. What had begun as an attempt at diplomacy ended in bitter accusations and threats, leaving no room for compromise. The fragile thread of peace snapped, and within weeks, tensions erupted into violence. It started with a minor border skirmish, a dispute over mining rights near Neptune's orbit, but escalated rapidly into something far more devastating. On one side were human settlers aboard the colony ship Horizon Dawn, tasked with establishing a new outpost in the outer solar system. On the other were traders from the Krillian Consortium, a species aligned with the Galactic Council. Both claimed ownership of a resource-rich asteroid field, citing overlapping territorial maps. When negotiations broke down, tempers flared. Shots were fired. What began as a small exchange of laser fire quickly spiraled out of control. The humans, outnumbered but armed with experimental plasma cannons, reverse-engineered from alien tech, fought back fiercely. Using guerrilla tactics honed through centuries of warfare on Earth, they lured the Krillians into traps, disabling their larger ships with precision strikes. Within hours, the Krillian fleet was decimated, its survivors retreating in disarray. News of the battle spread like wildfire. For humanity, it was a moment of triumph, a vindication of their efforts to prepare for war. Back on Earth, crowds cheered as footage of the engagement aired on global networks. Holographic displays showed sleek human fighters darting between enemy vessels, unleashing barrages of energy that lit up the void like fireworks. General Marcus Hale addressed the world from HSI headquarters, his voice brimming with pride. Today, we prove that humanity cannot be pushed around. We will defend our people and our future. But the victory came at a cost. The Krillians, humiliated and enraged, appealed to the Galactic Council for retaliation. Voreth seized the opportunity, rallying support for a full-scale assault on Earth. "If we do not crush them now," he roared during an emergency council session, "they will only grow stronger." Girac tried to intervene, warning against underestimating humanity's resilience. "Attacking them directly will only unite them further," he cautioned. "They thrive under pressure. Do you truly want to make them your enemy?" His words fell on deaf ears. The Council authorized a punitive expedition, sending a coalition fleet to Earth's borders. Their goal was simple: neutralize the human threat before it could escalate. When the alien Armada arrived, humanity was ready. Hidden asteroid bases sprang to life, launching squadrons of cloaked cruisers equipped with cutting-edge weaponry. The EOS, humanity's flagship, led the charge, its massive hull bristling with turrets and missile launchers. Under Dr. Elena Vasquez's guidance, AI systems coordinated attacks with surgical precision, targeting weak points in the enemy formation. The battle raged across the solar system, from Saturn's rings to Jupiter's moons. Human pilots executed daring maneuvers, exploiting their smaller, faster ships to outmaneuver the lumbering alien vessels. Experimental EMP weapons disabled entire fleets at once, while quantum fusion drives allowed rapid redeployment to key locations. Each victory fueled morale, inspiring civilians and soldiers alike. Yet, despite their ingenuity, humanity suffered heavy losses. Colonies were destroyed, ships obliterated, lives lost. But even in defeat, they refused to surrender. Stories of heroism spread, of captains sacrificing themselves to save their crews, of engineers repairing damaged ships mid-battle, of ordinary citizens volunteering to join the fight. The turning point came when the EOS confronted the Council's command ship, a colossal dreadnought commanded by Voreth himself. Outgunned and outnumbered, the human fleet devised a bold plan. Using decoy drones and holographic projections, they created the illusion of reinforcements arriving en masse. Panicked, Voreth ordered a retreat, abandoning his forces to save face. As the alien fleet limped away, humanity celebrated not just the victory, but the realization that they had proven themselves equals among the stars. They weren't just humans anymore. They were warriors, survivors, and innovators, and the galaxy would never see them the same way again. For the first time, the Council realized their mistake. Humanity wasn't just a nuisance, it was a force to be reckoned with. And the war was only beginning. The retreat of the Council's fleet marked a pivotal moment in humanity's rise. For the first time, the Galactic Council was forced to acknowledge that Earth wasn't just a minor nuisance, it was a legitimate threat. But what they didn't know was that humanity's true strength still lay hidden, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. In the weeks following the battle, whispers of rebellion began spreading across the galaxy. Oppressed species under the Council's rule had watched the skirmish with growing fascination. They saw how a relatively young and inexperienced civilization stood toe-to-toe with the mighty Council, and won. It sparked hope among those who had long suffered under tyranny, inspiring them to question their own subjugation. Dr. Elena Vasquez sat in a secure briefing room aboard the EOS, reviewing intelligence reports from alien dissidents. Her team had intercepted encrypted messages detailing unrest within several Council-aligned factions. "They're starting to doubt the Council's invincibility," she said, turning to General Marcus Hale. "If we move now, we can turn this discontent into an advantage." Hale leaned forward, his sharp eyes scanning the data on her tablet. "You mean bring them over to our side?" "Exactly," Elena replied. "But we'll need more than words. We need action. A show of force that proves we're serious." That's when Jarek reached out. The silver-skinned counselor had secretly been aiding humanity, feeding them information about the Council's weaknesses and rallying support among sympathetic species. Through encrypted transmissions, he proposed a daring plan: a coordinated assault on the Nexus, the Council's central hub, a sprawling space station orbiting a dying star at the heart of the galaxy. "The Nexus is their stronghold," Jarek explained during a clandestine meeting via hologram. "Destroy it, and you cripple their ability to control the galaxy. But it won't be easy. Its defenses are unmatched." General Hale crossed his arms, considering the risks. "If we fail, they'll crush us completely." "And if we succeed?" Elena asked, her voice steady despite the enormity of the task. Jarek's liquid metal eyes gleamed with determination. "You'll ignite a revolution. Species who've lived under the Council's thumb for centuries will rise up. You'll give them something they haven't had in millennia: hope." With no time to waste, humanity prepared for its boldest operation yet. Hidden asteroid bases across the Orc cloud sprang into action, launching thousands of cloaked cruisers into deep space. These ships, equipped with experimental weapons and AI-driven navigation systems, formed the backbone of the Armada. At its center loomed the EOS, now retrofitted with advanced shielding and plasma cannons capable of obliterating entire fleets. As the fleet approached the Nexus, tension mounted. Pilots exchanged nervous glances, knowing full well that failure meant annihilation. Yet there was also pride, a shared understanding that they represented not just Earth, but all oppressed beings in the galaxy. When the Armada emerged from stealth mode near the Nexus, chaos erupted. The station's automated defenses unleashed barrages of energy beams and missiles, but humanity's smaller, faster ships dodged and countered with devastating precision. Alien dissidents joined the fray, their stolen vessels adding firepower to the assault. Together, they breached the Nexus' outer layers, disabling shield generators and carving a path toward its core. Inside the station, Vorith raged as alarms blared and explosions rocked the corridors. How could this happen? He roared, slamming a fist against the console. Lizira floated nearby, her ethereal form trembling with unease. "Because we underestimated them," she whispered, just as Jarek warned. Meanwhile, aboard the EOS, Elena worked tirelessly to coordinate the attack, her fingers flying over holographic controls. Beside her, Hale gripped the railing, watching as the final wave of fighters penetrated the Nexus's inner sanctum. "This is it," he said, his voice filled with resolve. "Time to finish what we started." The destruction of the Nexus sent shockwaves through the galaxy. When news of its fall reached distant worlds, rebellions erupted everywhere. Species once loyal to the Council declared independence, while others pledged allegiance to humanity. In one decisive strike, the balance of power shifted forever. For the first time, the galaxy looked to Earth, not with fear, but with admiration. Humanity had proven itself not just as warriors, but as liberators, and the war was far from over. The fall of the Nexus sent shockwaves through the galaxy, both literal and metaphorical. The once impregnable fortress of the Galactic Council now lay in ruins, its shattered remnants drifting through space like a grim monument to hubris. For many species under the Council's rule, it was a moment of liberation, a signal that resistance could succeed. But for humanity, it marked the beginning of an even greater challenge, uniting the galaxy against centuries of oppression. In the aftermath of the assault, Dr. Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the Eos, watching as alien ships from across the galaxy converged toward their fleet. Some came bearing supplies, others offering troops or intelligence. Among them were representatives of species long thought loyal to the Council, beings who had secretly yearned for freedom but lacked the courage to act until now. "We've struck a nerve," Elena said softly, turning to General Marcus Hale. "But this isn't just about us anymore. These people are looking to us for leadership." Hale nodded grimly, his gaze fixed on the holographic map, displaying the shifting allegiances across the galaxy. "Leadership means responsibility. If we fail, they'll pay the price." Gerak appeared via encrypted transmission, his silver form flickering slightly due to interference. "You've done more than destroy the Nexus," he said, his voice tinged with awe. "You've ignited hope where none existed before. Now you must turn that hope into action." With Gerak's guidance, humanity began organizing the disparate rebel factions into a cohesive force. Alien engineers worked alongside human technicians to retrofit captured Council vessels, while strategists from multiple species collaborated on battle plans. Despite language barriers and cultural differences, a shared purpose bound them together, overthrowing the Council's tyranny. But the Council wasn't finished yet. Vorath, humiliated by the loss of the Nexus, rallied what remained of his forces for one final stand. He assembled a massive armada, pulling resources from every corner of the galaxy still under his control. His target? Earth itself, the heart of the rebellion. When news of the incoming fleet reached HSI Command, panic rippled through humanity. Earth's orbital defenses, though formidable, weren't designed to withstand such an overwhelming assault. General Hale addressed the United Earth Assembly, his tone resolute despite the gravity of the situation. "We knew this day would come. They're coming not just to defeat us, but to make an example of us. We cannot let them win." Elena proposed a bold counter-strategy. Instead of defending Earth directly, they would draw the Council's fleet into a trap near Saturn. Using decoys and cloaked mines, they could isolate portions of the enemy armada and pick them apart piece by piece. It was risky, but it offered the best chance of survival. As the Council's fleet approached Saturn, the stage was set for the largest battle the galaxy had ever seen. Humanity's hidden armada emerged from the shadows, flanked by allied alien ships. The Eos led the charge, its plasma cannons blazing as it carved through enemy lines. Pilots executed daring maneuvers, weaving between asteroids and debris fields to outmaneuver their opponents. Amidst the chaos, Gerak played a crucial role, feeding real-time intel to the rebels and sabotaging Council communications. His betrayal enraged Vorath, who personally led a squadron to hunt him down. Their confrontation ended in a fiery explosion, leaving both ships crippled, but Gerak's sacrifice ensured the rebels maintained the upper hand. Hour after grueling hour, the tide turned. The Council's forces, stretched thin and demoralized, began retreating. When Vorath's flagship finally surrendered, broadcasting unconditional capitulation across all channels, cheers erupted among the Allied fleet. Back on Earth, crowds gathered in city squares, watching live feeds of the victory. Tears streamed down faces as strangers embraced, united by relief and pride. Humanity had not only survived, it had triumphed. Yet as the dust settled, questions lingered. What kind of galaxy would rise from the ashes of the old order? And could humanity truly lead without repeating the Council's mistakes? For now, though, there was peace and hope. The war was over, but the galaxy bore scars, both physical and emotional, that would take generations to heal. The Council's empire had crumbled, its remnants scattered like stardust across the void. In its place stood a fragile coalition of species, united not by force but by choice. Humanity, once dismissed as insignificant, now found itself at the forefront of this new era, a beacon of resilience and innovation. On Earth, celebrations erupted in every corner of the globe. Cities lit up with fireworks that painted the night sky in dazzling colors, while streets filled with people chanting slogans of unity and hope. Screens in public squares broadcast images of alien allies standing alongside human leaders, their diverse forms symbolizing a shared future. For the first time in history, humanity wasn't just looking outward, it was reaching out, ready to embrace its role among the stars. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood on a platform overlooking Central Park in New York City, her voice carrying through loudspeakers to thousands gathered below. Today, she began, her tone steady yet filled with emotion. We honor those who fought and sacrificed for this moment. But let us also remember why we fought, not for conquest, but for freedom. Not for power, but for peace. General Marcus Hale stood beside her, his battle-worn face softened by a rare smile. He raised a hand to quiet the cheering crowd before speaking. We've proven that no matter how different we are, we can stand together against injustice. Now it's time to build something better. A galaxy where all species have a voice. Behind the scenes, Girak's influence continued to shape the transition. Though he had perished during the final battle, his vision lived on through the allies he inspired. With his guidance etched into the minds of those who survived, humanity worked tirelessly to dismantle the Council's oppressive systems. Trade routes once controlled by monopolies reopened, resources were distributed fairly, and colonies long exploited by the Council began to rebuild. In the months that followed, representatives from across the galaxy convened aboard the EOS, now repurposed as a mobile diplomatic hub. Under humanity's leadership, they drafted the Charter for the United Galactic Federation, UGF, a democratic body where every species, regardless of size or strength, had an equal say. The UGF's headquarters would orbit Earth, serving as a constant reminder of humanity's role in forging this new path. Not everyone welcomed the change. Some Council loyalists refused to accept defeat, retreating to distant regions of the galaxy to plot their return. Others feared humanity's rise, questioning whether they truly sought equality or simply replaced one ruler with another. Elena addressed these concerns directly during the inaugural session of the UGF. "We're not here to dominate," she said, addressing skeptical delegates. "We're here to listen, to learn. If we falter, hold us accountable. This federation is not ours alone. It belongs to all of us." Her words resonated deeply, earning nods of approval, even from former adversaries. Slowly, trust began to grow. Alien species that had once viewed humans with suspicion now saw them as partners, or even friends. Stories of collaboration spread. A human engineer helping rebuild an insectoid colony devastated by war. A Krillian trader sharing knowledge of sustainable farming techniques with Earth farmers. Children of different species playing together in orbital habitats. As Earth looked up at the night sky, now dotted with ships from dozens of worlds, Dr. Vasquez reflected on how far they'd come. She stood on the balcony of HSI headquarters, gazing at the stars. Beside her, General Hale joined silently, handing her a cup of coffee. "What happens next?" he asked, his voice tinged with both curiosity and caution. She smiled faintly. "We keep going. We make mistakes, learn from them, and try again. That's what being human is about." For the first time in centuries, the galaxy felt alive with possibility. Humanity hadn't just earned its place among the stars. It had redefined what it meant to belong. And though challenges lay ahead, one truth shone brighter than ever. Hope was contagious. Together, they would light the way forward, one star at a time.